Welcome back to Movie Recap. Today I'm gonna show you a 2016 biographical drama film called Jackie. Spoilers ahead. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. The movie begins when a teary-eyed woman slowly walks into a wide field. Then, the scene changes, at Hyannisport, Massachusetts, the year 1963. A yellow taxi approaches through the house, and a man gets out of the car, a journalist. He walks through the door, and a woman opens the door, Mrs. Jackie Kennedy. The man states that somebody told him to come upon that house. Jackie angrily says that it has been 1 week since her husband died, but reporters and writers keep writing horrible things about her. She also tells the journalist that she will be editing their conversation if she says something she doesn't really mean. Then, the journalist reacts that he dislikes what Mrs. Kennedy wants to happen, but later on, as he sees a merely angry face of Jackie, he asks if the story will be the own version of Jackie on what happened. And she approves immediately, and lets the journalist come into the house. The next scene shows as the two are sitting facing each other. Jackie smokes the cigarette, and then, she starts a story when she says she thanks God that she is with him when that happens. She also asks the journalist if he knows what she thinks of history, then, she continues speaking as she wonders if something is written down as really true. Then, she added that there are already televisions, and people can see the truth with their own eyes, and she smokes again. The journalist states that he was very impressed on the tour of the White House that Jackie made a few years ago for CBS. He then, added that she could have a career and be a broadcaster. For that reason, Jackie got offended a little, saying that she could assure the journalist what she would do next, but not through television. As a flashback to 1962. Two women flashes on the screen, Jackie, practicing a last-minute script for the tour with her secretary, Nancy, that helps her memorize the lines. Then, Jackie asks the secretary if the president, her husband, John F. Kennedy, would join the tour. The secretary tells her that he will be joining at the end of the tour at the Monroe Room. She also admires the beauty and talent of Jackie, to boost her confidence and lessen her nervous feeling. The tour then started as she walked through the staff. Then, a piece of music plays when footage of the White House shows on the screen. And a manly voice introduces Jackie as she will be the one to lead the tour. Then the voice continues telling a short biography of Jackie. And then, she walks through a room, an attic, and a cellar as she described. A man greets and thanks her for letting them visit her official home. She continues to explain what they are doing in that specific room, including receiving hundreds of letters every day. And the man continues to ask her questions about her plans on the White House, and her secretary signals her to smile to look good on the camera. Then she answers that she doesn't have a plan at all. In the present day, the journalist bravely asks her about her faith, but then, she doesn't answer. As their conversation continued, she suddenly realized, and burst out that she knew what the journalist was looking for as she was also a reporter back then. She tells the journalist that he wants every detail of what happened to her husband. Then the scene changes again. A week ago, Jackie, in front of a mirror, happily prepares herself as the airplane where they are in is ready to land in Dallas. She then, walks to his husband to finally walk together out of the airplane. The crowd is cheering as they go down the plane. They greet the people with a broad smile. The government officials, including the governor, Lyndon, and his wife, Lady Bird, welcome them as soon as they land their foot on the ground. Jackie is very pleased with the warm welcome they receive from the people of Dallas. Then, they continue to walk until they reach the limo. Back to the present day, Jackie states the journalist detail by detail what happened that day. With sadness in her eyes, she continues to describe the feeling of brains, blood, and pieces of his husband's skull shattered around her. She then, stopped telling the story as she saw the journalist writing all the details. While shaking because of intense crying, she gets a cigarette and lights it. Then, she immediately tells the journalist that she won't let him publish that. Then, the journalist continues to ask her questions. He asks her what the bullet sounds like, and she bravely says that they hear a loud bang, and that when she knows that her husband is dead. The scene then changes, back in the day a week ago. In the airplane, Jackie, crying and trying to wipe the blood shattered on her face, suddenly someone knocks on her door, telling her she must go to the conference room where President Lyndon does his sworn. Jackie feels terrible as she witnessed that because of what she is going through. As the plane was ready to land, an authority tells Jackie that she must exit through the back door together with his husband's casket because of the press waiting for them. They also tell her that they will go directly to the hospital for the autopsy right after they land. Then the airplane landed. The president's brother, Bobby, appears on the screen and immediately hugs Jackie. Then, an aircraft officer approaches Bobby, and tells him that the car is already waiting. They exit the plane, and ride an ambulance together with her husband's casket. At the hospital, nurses and doctors are busy doing their jobs. Jackie rushes to the room where his husband is in, but as soon as she reaches the door, Bobby blocks and pulls her to not enter the door. Jackie can't do anything but cry. Back in the White House, Jackie goes into her bedroom. Every step she makes, she remembers a memory of his husband. As soon as she enters the room, she takes off her pieces of bloody clothes and goes to the washing room to clean herself. Later that day, Jackie tells their cultural advisor that she wants to have a procession for her husband, but their cultural advisor advises Jackie and tells her that she, including her 2 kids, must hide to protect them. In the middle of their conversation, Nancy interrupts them and tells her that the children are awake. She rushes to the room and explains to her children that their father is gone. Also, that day, Jackie rushes to Bobby's office, where she sees him watching Oswald on the news, known as the suspect. She interrupts him to say that she doesn't want to bury his husband in a family plot. Then Jackie, together with Bobby, went to Arlington National Cemetery. Despite the rain, Jackie continues to find a perfect spot where her husband will be buried. Finally, after miles of walking, she finally finds the spot and marks it. Back at the White House, Bobby tells Jackie that the procession she wants is a security risk. He patiently tells Jackie all of the possibilities that could happen on that long way of the procession, trying to convince her not to do that anymore. Later that night, Jackie visits the president's room. She then plays a song, Camelot. She tours herself through the room, and as soon as she enters the Oval Office, she sits at the president's desk. That's when the music stops. The scene then changes. The next day, at a park, Jackie is in the car's back seat, together with the priest. She tells the priest that God is cruel. She continues, and says all the bad things that happened to her, and it shows that she is doubting God. But then, the priest tells her that God is love and is everywhere, but she's still not convinced. Later that day, in the White House, Lyndon, Bobby together with their wives, watched on TV as Oswald showed on the TV screen being assassinated. As they are shocked by what happened, Bobby demands them that no one must tell Jackie of what they've watched on the TV. While on the other hand, Jackie is trying to convince a secret agent if she could have a minute with Oswald to know the reason behind the assassination. In the middle of their conversation, Nancy interrupts them and suggests using the exit door to avoid the press. But Jackie disagrees with it, and she tells Nancy that they are ready to leave, together with her children, and they will use the front door to capture 2 fatherless children. Jackie bravely walks through the frontal door together with her children. Then, they walk out of the house and go to a limo parked in the front together with her husband's casket drawn by a horse carriage. They ride past all the mourners and photographers on their way to the Capitol Rotunda. As soon as they reach the Capitol, Jackie, with his children, kneeled near the casket to show respect to her husband. Time has passed. Jackie knows what happened to Oswald, rushes to Bobby's office and scolds him for not telling her what happened. She feels that she puts the life of her children at risk. For that reason, Jackie decides that they'll be just doing a motorcade through the back way, and not a procession anymore, and then bury her husband. The scene then changes. Jackie is in her bedroom when suddenly Bobby walks through the door. He tells her that there will be no procession tomorrow and everyone will ride. He then spoke out again, and said that being in that bedroom reminds me of a man who freed millions of people from slavery. Later that day, as Jackie walks around the house, she sees the busy workers packing their belongings. Books, clothes, and all their belongings are put in boxes. She begins to help them as she puts the toys of her children also in boxes as well as her suits. As she walks around the White House, she sees Valenti, unpacking his things and preparing for his new office. Then suddenly, Valenti says that he heard that Jackie wants a modest funeral. Still, she disagrees immediately and tells Valentine that she wants to have a procession again. But then, Valentine debates her and says that it is too dangerous and their country cannot stand another assassination anymore. And he also added that some government officials are already receiving threats. But then, Jackie calmly asks him to get a funeral message on all the guests as soon as they land, and tells him to inform them that she will walk with her husband tomorrow. And she also added that if the general is concerned with his security, he may ride in an armored car or a tank. Back in the present day, Jackie asks the journalist if he could write what she says. The journalist writes and follows everything she says. On the day of the procession, Jackie is wearing an entirely black outfit, including a black mesh covering her face. Jackie and Bobby, together with the government officials, and all the 1,000 mourners, are gathered. Pain and sadness are felt as they walk through their way to the cathedral. Then the scene suddenly changes as we see Jackie talking again to the priest, and she says that she thinks all the event was not for her husband, but for her own gain. Then, she added that before she walked out with the casket, she wrote a letter telling that she wanted to die. Back in the present day, as the interview continues, she tells the journalist that she had been lying when she said that she couldn't remember the assassination. Then the scene changes to the day of the assassination. They are riding in a fancy car, enjoying the motorcade, and waving their hands to the people as they pass by. Then, suddenly they hear a gunshot that took the life of her beloved husband. Bloods, flesh, and parts of her husband's skull were splattered all over her. She tries to stop the bleeding, hoping to save her husband. The scene goes back to the day of the procession. They reach the cathedral. The authorities perform what needs to be done to show respect to the late president, including the folding of the United States flag. Then they bury the president. Then again, on the present day, Jackie's sitting in front of the journalist. She politely asks if she can take a look at all the pieces of information that he wrote. In their conversation, the journalist compliments Jackie as he says that she's been like a mother to their country. The scene changes. It's a year earlier, on the day of the tour on the White House. Jackie finishes on tour, her husband walks into the room, and then interviewed. Back to the day that Jackie will leave the White House with her children. She saw Lady Bird doing fabric swatches as she walked out, getting ready to undo all the changes she worked for years on that house. They continued to go out, and she loaded her children into a limousine and drove away from the house. Back in the present day, Jackie tells the journalist that her husband loves to play records at night before bed. She also added that Camelot is her husband's favorite. The story of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Later on, the journalist carefully dictates the interview to his editor over the phone. He then leaves, thanks to Jackie for allowing him to interview, and wishes her a good night. The scene changes again as we see Jackie with the priest. She tells him what happened in the interview. She believes that his article was reprinted worldwide, and wishes that people will finally believe in Camelot. And in the White House, a mounted plaque was outside Jackie's former room that recognizes that duration they've been in the White House. As Jackie rides to a limo, she sees a mannequin that resembles her, and she then concludes that the world becomes fascinated with her. The movie ends as the scene backs to the day of the tour. Jackie was stating on television how proud she was of her husband. Then a scene flashes as Jackie and her husband, President John Kennedy, slowly dances to the Song of Camelot. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.